So the first thing I always do before my foundation is I always prime it. So today I'm going to be using the Milani Prime and Perfection Primer. I really like this primer. I normally try to stay away from silicone-based primers just because of the fact that I am oily, and when I tend to put oil-based primer on my face, it kind of just like slides off and my makeup becomes really cakey. That doesn't happen with all primers, but normally I just do like to stay away from silicone or any oil products like that. So this one is oil-free, and this reminds me a lot of the Too Faced Hangover Primer. It has the same consistency, like literally it's like the exact same thing, except the Too Faced one smells like coconut. This one kind of smells like peppermint, so it does smell really good. It doesn't smell like gross or anything like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this all over my face. And then next, I don't always do this, but sometimes if I have any redness or like any blemishes or anything like that, I do like to cover them up with any type of grain concealer that you have on hand. I just have this Yves Saint Laurent one, and this is just in the shade green. I don't really think there's like a specific name for it, but it's just the green one and it looks like this. So this one, the reason why I like this one, I got it sent to me for review, and I normally don't use green correctors, but this one is very, very sheer, and it's not so much thick, so it doesn't take a long time to blend out. So I have been breaking out a lot lately, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just place like literally a tiny bit just right over any of my blemishes, which is like in this area. And then I'm just going to take my finger and just dab it just a little bit. I don't like to use a sponge because it soaks up a lot of the product, and then the brush just makes it like streaky. So I just like to use my fingers for this. After that's blended, I go in with my foundation. My foundation has been the Milani 2-in-1 foundation. This is a foundation and concealer in one. You guys know that I love my full coverage. What I like to do is I like to squeeze about a pump, which is about this much, onto my finger first. And then I take that and I just spread that around my face. Just distribute it. I don't put a lot on my forehead just because I don't need a lot of coverage right there. Right here is where I need the most coverage. Then I go in with a damp beauty blender. I like to use the black one. I feel like the black one works so much better than the pink one. I don't normally ever use a brush for my foundation unless I'm like in a hurry and I don't have time to blend it. And if I do use a brush, I use the Sigma F80 brush. It is the flat top kabuki brush. That is literally the best foundation brush that I have ever tried myself, and I will never use any other brush. So I just like to go ahead and just blend this all out. And I always do a second coat with this foundation because one coat is still not enough. So I like to really take my time blending, and when I do take my time blending, I notice that my foundation tends to get less cakey, especially with full coverage foundations. You can, it can get cakey really easily. So that's why I always like to apply a little bit and then add more as I go. I pretty much have everything blended out. So now I'm just gonna go in with another half pump of this. I'm just gonna put it right over my freckles and drag it a little bit down on my neck. Of course, you always want to drag your foundation. And with this, because I'm putting it right here, I'm going to just barely tap it out, just cover whatever I need to cover right here. And when I wear my hair up in like a bun, I always get my ears as well, so try not to forget that. Now for concealer, I like to use two different concealers. The first one I like to use is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. This covers dark circles. This is literally the best concealer I've ever used in my life, and this tops all the high-end ones I've tried and drugstore. I just love this. Now, I don't necessarily like this for concealing, even though I just said concealer. I like it more to first cover my dark circles because I don't get a lot of sleep at night. So as you can see, I have really bad dark circles. So what I like to do is I like to go in with this and just basically put it right underneath my under eye. And this kind of like, I guess in my case, preps for concealer because I get that double layer. I'm gonna go ahead and just basically place this where I normally would put concealer, which is right underneath, and then sometimes I'll just go in right there, you know, just to put it there. It's not necessary, but I do it anyways. And then I like to take my beauty blender and just go ahead and just dab that out very lightly. I don't want to apply too much pressure because I don't want the concealer to like break up all the foundation that I just built right here. And you really don't even need like a lot of pressure to do this because this concealer blends out really well. And I'm also going to bring it down my nose as well, just to give my nose that slim effect. I don't contour really because I really don't have the time to do with that, but I just feel like it makes my nose look slimmer when I do the concealer like this. So now I'm going to go in with my actual concealer. Now I switch up my concealers all the time. I really like to use the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. That's normally on a day-to-day basis, but today I have to film another video after this. So today I'm going to be using my LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is like kind of like the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, but it's like 10 times the coverage and it's really, really thick. So I love this for that reason because it is so thick and it covers up my dark circles perfectly. In the shade Natuarl, that is the shade that I use. I feel like it has like a pink undertone. You can't really see it. And this one you kind of have to be a little bit fast with it because this one does dry pretty fast. So now I'm going to go in with my setting powder. I'm going to use my Mercier translucent powder. I used to use the Secret Brightening powder just to brighten up my under eyes because like I said, I do have really bad dark circles. But that container is like, I think $30, which is the same price as this, or actually it's $18 for like a little container, and I go through it so fast. So I just decided to go ahead and try out this one because I have never tried this one before and I absolutely fell in love. I literally use this every single day and I love it. So what I like to do before, because like I said, this concealer does like to dry fast, is I like to, before I put the powder on, I like to just go under one more time and try not to blink because this concealer does crease when it does not have powder. And then I like to go ahead and apply the powder afterwards. If you see any creasing before powder, I highly recommend to smooth it out with your beauty blender. Otherwise, you're going to take that powder and you're actually going to go ahead and set that. You're basically setting your crease with your powder. I'm going with the other side and blending that out and then applying my powder. I've been lately tapping in the powder with my beauty blender rather than just putting a whole bunch of powder and then dusting it off. I do put a little bit extra obviously to dust off, but I found that when I actually press it into my skin, it really locks in all those concealers that I put. It looks really flawless and I love that. And I love to set right in between my eyebrows because I frown a lot and like raise my eyebrows and stuff a lot, so it just prevents from this area to get really like cakey and stuff like that. Then to set the rest of my face where I didn't put this powder, some people put the rest of this translucent powder, but I don't like to do that, so I actually go in with my Maybelline Fit Me powder in 220, and I'm just going to take this Morphe E3 brush and go ahead and just set the rest of my face with that really lightly. And I want to pat this in. I don't want to like brush like this because then you are going to move all of your foundation around, and we obviously do not want that. So now I'm going to, I normally leave the bake on for like about 5 minutes. I normally will go in with do my eyeshadow and everything after that, and then brush it off, but I'm just gonna brush it off now. Now we're just gonna go ahead and bronze up your face a little bit. So I like to use my Carity F21 for contouring. I really don't even like contour or bronze anymore. I really like to contour. I've gained a little bit of weight and you could totally tell in my face. So that is why I like to contour. So I like to contour with my Hoola bronzer. This is just a mini size of the Hoola. So I basically just like to contour my cheeks and my forehead and my chin. Okay, after we bronze, I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of that powder and just set it right underneath where I contoured. This just is going to give me that really chiseled look. So now for blush, I normally just like to stick to like really mauve shades. My favorite blush I like to use is the Milani Romantic Rose blush. It's very like neutral and mauve, like I said, and it doesn't bring too much attention to my cheeks. Like I said, I did gain some weight, so see, my cheeks are already naturally like chunky, so I definitely don't want to accentuate that. And I like to take it right where my contour starts and just work it outward. I never put it on the apples of my cheeks because that would be accentuating them, and I don't want to do that. So I just put a tiny bit. It just gives me that little flush of color if I'm like super tired in the morning, which is like every single morning. And then last but not least, highlight. I literally switch my highlights like no other. Every day I use a different one. The one that I use the most is my Opal from Becca, but I also like to use the Anastasia glow kits. I have all of them. So this one is in the shade That Glow, and this is the one that I use the most. It has more of the bronzy shades. So it looks like this, and I always like to mix two. I like to mix Sunburst, which is right here, and Dripping in Gold. Those are the two that I use like literally every time I go to this palette. Those are the two that I reach for. And every single time I highlight, I like to use my Morphe 501 brush. So I just mix a little bit of those and then tap off the excess. And I like to highlight exactly where I put that blush. So I put it right above there, and I just kind of like zhuzh, that's what I call it. This is my zhuzhing. This is, I know that you guys might be fun of me, but that's basically what I'm doing, is zhuzhing the highlight. So yeah, I just like to put it right here, and I like to put a lot of highlight. You obviously don't need to put this much. You know, to really intensify it, a lot of people like to spray their brush, but for me it just makes it like too stuck like in one spot, and I don't like that look. I also like to bring it down the bridge of my nose and at the tip of my nose, and right before I apply lipstick, I'll put it on my Cupid's bow as well, but I'm not gonna put lipstick right now. So yeah, after we have that, I'm gonna go ahead and just take a what is this, stippling brush. This is one from e.l.f. and I'm just gonna go ahead and just blend that all together, just so that it doesn't look, you know, too uniform, because then it's gonna start to look funny. I'm just gonna go and brush that bake off underneath. Hi. Hey. Okay, and then of course, lastly, I like to go ahead and set my foundation. Always set all this work we just did. So I always use my Boschka, I really don't know how to pronounce this. This is the white charcoal mattifying makeup setting spray. So I just like to shake it up a little bit. I'm actually running low, I need to get more, but this literally lasts me for like 6 or 7 months. So it is pretty pricey. I think it's about $38, but you get 5.07 fluid ounces, so that's a lot for a setting spray. So I just like to go ahead and spray my whole face. And I don't like to open my eyes because then they will crease, so I basically just fan myself. Try not to wrinkle either or like make any funny faces. Okay guys, so that is my everyday foundation routine. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want more videos like these, like my eyebrow routine and I guess like my go-to look and stuff like that, please leave a comment down below and make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. That's everything for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!
Yeah, I like to make money, get turned. I like to